All right, welcome back to the Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the game logs, pulling up item manifests, all to build a complete profile on one single character. And that character is the holy warrior, Tinsel.
Okay, so here's the plan. First up, we'll meet Tinsel and figure out her whole deal. Then, we're going to geek out over her divine armory, all that amazing gear. After that, we'll dig into her spells, both faith and nature-based. We'll also look at her biggest wins and, well, her biggest losses. And finally, we'll ask the big question. What does she really bring to her party, notebooklm the gang?
All right, Section 1. Meet Tinsel, the holy warrior. So who is Tinsel, really? The logs tell us she's a core member of her crew, but to get the real picture, we've got to play detective and look for clues in her actions and all that sweet, sweet equipment.
So all the evidence, and I mean all of it, points in one direction. Tinsel is a cleric. I mean, you look at the logs from that barbarian cairn, it mentions she used Turn Undead. Then you check her item list and boom, there it is. The Belt of the Faithful, which gives a bonus to that exact ability. That's Cleric 101, textbook stuff.
But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not about what the logs say, it's about what they don't say. We have absolutely no idea what her race is. We don't know which god or divine philosophy she's sworn to. It's a total mystery, which just adds this whole enigmatic vibe to her character, you know?
Okay, on to the divine armory. You can tell a lot about a character by what they carry into a fight. And Tinsel's gear? Man, it tells one heck of a story. It's this incredible blend of holy protection and some seriously specialized, seriously deadly weapons. First, let's talk about her defense, because it is stacked. She's rocking full plate armor made from red dragon scales. Think about that for a second. On top of that, her belt and ring aren't just for show, they add these extra layers of divine and magical protection. She's basically a walking fortress out there.
And this is where you realize she's not just some tank hiding behind a shield, her offensive game is wild. She's got these heartwood arrows made from a sacred tree of life that just shred the undead. She's got arrows that literally put a curse on you. And my personal favorite, an arrow that explodes into a swarm of murderous crows. How cool is that?
And that's the whole point, right? It's all about specialization. Look, against some random foe, an arrow is an arrow. But when her party goes up against the undead, which seems to be a lot, her heartwood arrows aren't just arrows anymore. They're devastating silver bullet-style weapons that turn her into an absolute master undead hunter.
All right, so her gear is awesome, but her real power, that comes from her magic. And she's not just a one-trick pony. She's pulling power from two totally different places. The divine magic you'd expect from a cleric, and this whole other set of nature spells she gets from that crazy wooden ring of hers. Just look at this spell list. It really shows you how flexible she is. One minute, she's using divine power to heal up some gnarly wounds or throwing up a shield to protect her friends from pure evil. The next minute, she's tapping into that ring to command nature itself, making a friend's skin as tough as tree bark, or, get this, calling in woodland creatures to join the fight. The versatility is off the charts.
And you absolutely cannot sleep on this detail. It's a total game changer. That Belt of the Faithful, it has this insane modifier. So when Tinsel points one of her healing spells at an undead creature, the belt triples the damage. A spell meant to give life becomes this engine of pure destruction. It's the perfect example of that holy warrior duality.
Okay, triumphs and tribulations. Because having all this power is one thing, but how does it actually play out in a real fight? Well, the session logs give us a front row seat to Tinsel at her most powerful and also at her most fragile. When you look through the logs, a pattern starts to emerge pretty quickly. This party fights a lot of undead. And in those fights, Tinsel's ability to turn them is almost always the deciding factor. But then you get to the log from the fight in Falkemir, and that's where we see her biggest vulnerability rear its ugly head.
This one log entry, wow, it's like a scene from a movie. A prismatic spray, just this chaotic, unpredictable blast of rainbow-colored magic, slams the entire party, and Tinsel gets the worst of it. She's driven insane and turned to stone. Just boom, taken off the board, completely out of the fight in a single moment.
And this is what really defines her, this huge contrast. Against the undead, she's an apex predator, no question. But that specialization has a flip side. Her susceptibility to these chaotic spells isn't just her problem, it's the whole party's problem. Their entire strategy has to revolve around protecting their #1 undead killer from the one thing she can't handle, which really shows you how much they all have to rely on each other. So that brings us to the big question.
What's the final verdict on Tinsel? What's her real value to Calum, the gang? If you're thinking, oh, she's the healer, let me tell you, it is way, way more than that.
Yeah, if you break down everything she does for the group, you see the real picture. Healing is a big slice of the pie, for sure, about a third of her contribution. But look at this, undead control is almost just as important. Then you've got defense and buffs, specialized offense. She's doing a bit of everything.
So is she just a heal bot? No way, not even close. She's the team's spiritual anchor, their go-to specialist for anything supernatural. Think about it. Her being there allows the fighters on the front line to just go all out, to be reckless, because they know she's got their back. She can heal them up, yeah, but more importantly, she can vaporize those terrifying undead monsters that they would be totally helpless against otherwise.
Ultimately, Tinsel is that foundation of faith and power that lets everyone else in Calum, the gang, do what they do best. She really is the heart of the party. You could even say she's their rock. Just, hopefully not in the petrified sense. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.